Deep within the magma chambers, adventure and fiery death lie.
Tonight, let's explore the pyroclastic realms of volcanoes.
That's how we roll. 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 Welcome to the Goblins Corner. My name is Eric.
And I'm Matt.
And tonight,
we're talking about volcanoes.
My favorite subject, if you have listened to anything in the last 3 years, hot, molten magma bursting from the earth, ready to skewer and burn your characters. How delightful. And tonight we're going to talk about it.
That's where your eventual villain arc is going to come to an end.
Into a giant, magma-filled caldera.
Where you will either defeat the hero or be thrown into the lava.
I'll have a pet cat. It'll
Sure.
be delightful. So tonight, we're going to talk about how to run a volcanic setting in our Continuing Terrain series for your D&D game or what other RPG that you might be playing.
Sure. This is our most foreshadowed episode.
Absolutely. So if you haven't yet, hit that like and subscribe button. Help us get our show out to more people and get notified more amazing episodes come your way.
And if you're listening to the show, give us a review on iTunes or Podchaser or wherever else you're
We
listening
got
to.
hot stuff coming down the plate, man. A lot of
See
good
what
stuff.
you did there.
Yeah, it's hot.
Yeah.
So Matt, why volcanoes? I say to you, why the not?
That is the only appropriate response for you, I believe.
But what is an actual reason why we're doing volcanoes?
I mean, they are an epic location for any sort of fantasy or sci-fi story.
I agree. There's lots of different examples in sci-fi and fantasy. So, for example, in Star Wars, Mustafar.
Yeah, you got Mount Doom for Lord of the Rings.
Absolutely. You even do, if you're thinking of The Incredibles, Syndrome's Lair, which was a active volcano.
Sure.
The caldera filled.
That is 3 examples of 3 genres, and you could go on and on. James Bond had one. I mean, that's 4 great genres right there. So I think you could do it in basically anything.
I 100% agree. It is a place of extreme heat and dynamic shifting terrain. Now, that solid ground might be liquid the next minute, or it might be solid ground. You could be walking along and fall right through and get just burnt.
You could end up with a chunk of crust that has floated down a magma river and actually have an option for solid ground for a little while. So
But you never know.
Yep.
So a lot of different variations between that. And what else do volcanoes symbolize in terms of gameplay and stuff like that?
Well, they symbolize change, which is easily explained by the aforementioned point,
Yes.
but also death, catastrophe,
Yes.
and world-changing events.
Because if a volcano, let's face it, folks, if a volcano erupts in a town near you, that's going to be kind of an event.
It certainly is for them.
That's a big deal.
For example, a couple years ago, when the volcano in Iceland erupted, it threw ash into the air. It shut down air travel for a couple of weeks.
It's
The
true.
ash landed all over bits of Europe. I mean, it was a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal now, too, because Iceland has a erupting volcano just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, that's, again, yeah, not even the same volcano. It's a different one.
And man, anytime a volcano pops up, it's a big deal.
Yes.
So I think it should be good to jump in and ask what a volcano actually is. Well, we looked it up on the interwebs.
Like we do.
We do that. We do the barest minimum of research, as most of you are aware. So, Matt, what is a volcano according to Wikipedia?
Wikipedia defines a volcano as a rupture in the crust of a planet.
Or any type of planetary object.
Right, like Earth, for example, that allows hot lava, volcanic ash, and gases to escape from a magma chamber below the surface.
Mhm. Lava on the top, magma in the center.
Right.
Good to know, folks.
Yeah.
The more you know.
It is good to know, but I feel like on some level it's a pointless difference. If you're having to interact with it, you're in trouble.
True.
On Earth, volcanoes are usually caused by plate tectonics.
Now, it should also be noted, because I will be talking about volcanic calderas from this point until I'm dead,
Mhm.
that, because it's one of my favorite locations to have an epic battle,
Sure.
right? Think about the One Ring in the center of Mount Doom, the volcanic caldera. What is a volcanic caldera, Matt? I'll tell you. It's just a large, cauldron-like hollow that forms after the emptying of a magma chamber in a volcanic eruption. And generally the ceiling collapses too.
Right.
Think in your sci-fi or fantasy games, it's that big area where the red dragon lairs. because that's where the red dragon lairs,
Sure.
on top of his piles of gold.
For those of you who need a mental picture, it is that bowl-shaped hollow at the top of a volcano, usually.
If you guys saw the movie D&D, if you remember Thimberchad's lair, the big chonk dragon,
Sure.
where chonk dragon lairs, that's a caldera.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Plenty of room in there.
absolutely. It's basically a magmatic sinkhole.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's break this down real quick to determine what volcanoes and volcanic calderas and stuff are made. Basically, hot stuff forms underneath the ground, makes chambers and pressure, right?
Right.
Something causes the top to pop, so to speak,
And oftentimes that is just the buildup of pressure.
or release of pressure. So like glacial warming and stuff could cause some of that
Movement.
pressure. Yeah, a little bit of movement. Lava, gas, ash, and sometimes all kinds of other stuff erupts. So you get superheated mud. How delightful.
Superheated water, for that matter.
You get dragons.
Sure.
In the case of the Awakening for Shadowrun.
Yeah.
And whatever you get, right? And then sometimes you get calderas.
Where it goes up and then folds.
Now, finally, in your knowledge about volcanoes, there are various types of volcanic eruptions. Matt, let's talk about some of the various types. These are really interesting.
They are. And this is something I did not really know to even think about. Please keep in mind, we are not geologists. Therefore, some of the pronunciations may not be absolutely correct.
If you believe we are scientists of any sort aside from TTRPG scientists, then you need to have your head examined.
So you've got magmatic eruptions,
What are those?
gas release driven eruptions, decompression.
Okay.
They are usually very violent eruptions.
So like Mount St. Helens type stuff.
Yes.
That's bad. The supervolcano stuff.
Then you've got Hawaiian eruptions, which is just fluid, low gas magma eruptions. They are actively lava-y, not very actively like seismically or with a lot of gas and stuff like that. They just throw out a bunch of lava.
So they're not exploding. They're just kind of like sprouting lava fountains and lava rivers and lava streams. And
Yeah.
so building islands, basically.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, it's a very constructive lava flow.
Then you have Strombolian eruptions. I know what you're thinking. Yes, it is a volcano, and it's also a place, and it's a delicious pastry. All in one. You can get a Stromboli in Stromboli and die by a Stromboli. So, Matt, what's a strombolic eruption?
It's moderate viscosities and dissolved gases.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to be short-lived eruptions with high columns of gas.
So kind of like a psh, 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 psh type thing.
Yeah, but like literally just a literal column of gas into the air.
Very cool,
Yeah.
right? So you also have volcanian eruptions, higher viscosities, partial crystallization of the magma, which is neat. So you get like shards of obsidian raining down on you, perhaps.
Yay.
And they usually blow their top.
That's one of the ones that they like in movies, right? Where
Mhm.
just giant chunks of rock are falling from the sky and stuff.
Catastrophic movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What else we got?
We've got Pelean, which are more violent than the Volcanian, and they tend to produce pyroclastic flows.
From the Volcano Pele?
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's an even more volcanic, more violent eruption called Plinian, I believe is how it's pronounced.
I think so.
It's the most violent.
Yay.
Yes. Think Mount Vesuvius and you kind of get a picture of what it is.
Yeah, let's just murder a whole area.
Absolutely.
You've also got phreatomagmatic eruptions. They are interactions with superheated groundwater and lava. So you're going to have to deal with steam geysers. You're going to have to deal with clouds of superheated steam rolling down the mountain, as well as, lava.
Very dangerous, very unpredictable. When I think of phreatomagmatic, the first thing I think of was the delicious snack.
I can see that. I was going to say it would make a great album name, though. Phreatomagmatic.
That next band name, guys. Just think about that. And finally, you have phreatic eruptions, or phreatic, depending upon how you pronounce it. I don't know how it's pronounced.
Sure.
Same as the phreatomagmatic, but no lava, only erupted country rock. What's country rock, Matt?
That is superheated rock from the mountain. No magma. This is straight from the mantle.
That is scalding rock and mud.
Yes.
Now, it could be melted rock, right? Or it could be melted mud.
Yes.
Or it could be both. I would say it's both. because if you're going to run this in your game, keep in mind, we're not talking science here. We're talking like fantasy games,
Sure.
sci-fi games. Make it as deadly as you like. That's what we do.
But make sure you make it cinematic.
Very deadly things, these volcanoes. Let's talk about some of the challenges that your players will experience in maybe journeying to a volcanic region.
All of them.
All of them are awful. Let's talk about the terrain and weather first off.
Okay. One of the things people have to realize is that volcanoes appear literally anywhere.
Yeah. And it should be noted that magic can make a volcano happen anywhere. Planar rifts can cause volcanoes.
Sure.
Abyssal domains bursting forth from, I don't know, some kind of strange arcane device that got exploded could create a volcano.
There could be a volcano seed, right? Somebody planted
Sure.
one.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be literally anything.
Anything. Make something up, folks.
I like a volcano seed. I actually like that idea and may use it.
You should. That's great. So they can appear anywhere. So give me some examples of some of the other terrain that they might show up as.
We've got forests.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think of some of the like South American volcanoes, they tend to be very forested.
Yep.
Grasslands.
Oh, yeah.
Islands. We've already mentioned several of those. And mountainous regions.
Duh. And we've done several of these episodes. We'll provide some links in the description as well.
Sure.
Check them out. You can put a volcano on any of these types of terrain. Now, if it's active, the terrain could be as fluid as the activity of the volcano. So
Right.
if it's slightly dormant, you might get some rumblings, maybe some toxic gas that people can sniff and predict, mad prophecies. That's fun.
Could be. You could also do something like the fire swamp type action.
Oh, from Princess Bride. Oh, good call on that one. Yes, absolutely. Some RUSs as well.
Sure.
Or it could literally just be rivers of lava all the time. And
Sure.
that would suck.
If it's inactive, then it could just appear to be a mountain region.
You never know until maybe you dig down deep or go visit the Dwarven Realms, and in the center, it's still kind of like active the magma chamber is, and they're using it to forge metal.
Right.
That would be cool.
Now, weather in a volcanic region can be a little touchy because the plumes of smoke can mess with local weather patterns, and it can include anything from falling snow. Now, this is a cinematic moment. Because there's ash in the air, it could be black snow, it could be gray snow.
Red snow,
Sure.
magical ice crystals. Could be anything, really.
Yep.
Could be vaporized metal.
It could be not snow at all. It could just be really cold out, and it's just ash that's falling.
That's true. You could have lightning storms created by the volcano.
Now, this is very important. I need you to Google images of volcanic lightning storms. The lightning is not white.
Is it red?
There's red, there's purple, there's cerulean blue.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah, that's something you definitely need to throw in there because it makes your players nervous and it literally changes nothing.
I love that. You get crazy wind caused by the thermals.
Sure. Acidic rain.
Oh, yeah. Love acid rain. Fiery rocks falling from the sky, smashing cars and people.
Cloudy with a chance of boulders.
Yes. Getting around is precarious at best. Let's talk a little about traveling. So traveling near an active volcano can be grouped into a couple of different options. The first one is climbing the volcano.
Sure.
That's tough.
Yep. Mountain climbing, but with additional hazards.
The more active it is, the harder it is to climb.
Yeah. You're going to have to, generally speaking, traverse the cooler areas.
If there are any.
Right.
You could also avoid the molten ones.
That's pretty important.
Yep. You could fly above everything.
That doesn't guarantee safety, but it is safer.
Because it still could explode. There's still toxic gases. The wind is crazy from the thermals. And we haven't gotten into monsters yet.
And multicolored lightning.
Yes, multicolored lightning. Which, by the way, is a great idea for a game. Catching some multicolored lightning for a gnome artificer.
Yeah. You have to literally catch the lightning in the bottle.
Yes. You could also, if you're underwater, because volcanoes can appear underwater, swim around it.
Sure.
Then you got to deal with the superheated water that's near it.
You could even potentially explore the inside of a volcano. Go spelunking.
Yeah.
It's scary and dangerous.
Find some Azir that are just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
Maybe a red dragon or two hanging out, some kobolds, anything really.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the creatures in just a little bit.
many of these activities are very tough to deal with. So you've got all of the natural dangers of volcanoes and volcanic areas. I mean, particularly the lava, obviously, combined with the problems of climbing, falling, and crumbling structures.
You have to assume when the earth is moving that you're going to have rock falls, you're going to have ejected materials that are either rising from the ground or coming back to the ground.
So you're going to have some dead explorers if you can't stop the boulders from falling, the mud from burning off your face, the lava from burning off your face and everything else, the poison gas from killing you.
You just have to listen for the peculiar popping sound.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about being on the inside of the volcano. Now, most of the time when we talk about storytelling, it's fantasy or sci-fi related because we don't want realism.
Sure.
We escape it.
That's not the purpose of tabletop role-playing games in general.
And in general, if you're in the inside of a volcano, the heat and pressure are pretty ridiculous.
If you're not in an environmental suit specifically designed for it, you're a ghost.
But magic makes all of that possible. Also, weird-ass science makes all of that possible.
Sure.
So, semi-active or dormant volcanoes can give the DM free rein to make up all sorts of delightful dungeon terrain.
Yes.
And I'm talking anything. You could have an entire room full of, I don't know, geodes or crystals.
You could have empty lava tubes or full lava tubes.
Purple worms, perhaps.
Yep.
Caverns full of toxic gas. By the way, it doesn't have to be colored or anything. They just may walk up on a room and die.
You could have lava rooms that are starting to solidify, so it's got like stepping stones, Super Mario Brothers style.
Oh, that would be great. So this chamber is just molten lava and you got to kind of hop across. Yeah, that's lots of fun as well. You can also do lava falls or any lava waterworks. In fact, anything water would do, if it's particularly low viscosity lava, replace the water with lava. Lava fountains. Can you imagine maybe a species like dwarves that has used really powerful heat-resistant metal to make like lava works?
Sure.
And it just heats their whole village or their whole town.
Or imagine a group of phyrophage type, like animals that feed off of fire, that are using magma like plumbing.
Or like food.
Yeah, like they're literally just, it comes out of the faucets and everything.
Yeah. DMs, use your creativity to make something horrendous for your players. You should.
Sure.
Now, in addition to the fantastical dangers of being inside a lava-filled caldera, there's also natural dangers, just the plain and simple dangers of the volcano. Let's kind of specify what those are. The first one we kind of alluded to is what?
Yeah, we've touched on it. The heat.
Yeah.
It's hot.
It's real hot. So think of heat exposure. Think of all of the rules regarding whatever game you're playing, D&D particular, like environmental levels and stuff like that.
Sure.
You've got, of course, the lava.
Lava is sticky, and it does fire damage.
And can potentially do bludgeoning damage as well if it's being flung at you.
Sure.
So if it clings, that sucks. Because then it turns into rock if it cools.
Sure. Let's face it, there's nothing about lava being on you that is a good thing.
Yes. Let's talk about the toxic gases as well. For this podcast, I would say there are 3 types of toxic gases.
You've got gases which poison you, gases which dissolve you, i.e. something acidic or caustic,
and gases which can cook you because they're superheated.
Sure.
And if you want the DM hat trick, do all 3 that dissolve you, cook you, and poison you.
Sure.
And we're not even talking about smoke, folks. The burning of other things. There are large plumes of smoke.
It can obscure your vision, and it can do any of the things that the toxic gases above can do.
So you could be walking through a magma chamber or above ground trying to, climb to the top where the mad scientist / mystical wizard is in their chamber with their dragon and their cat that they're petting furiously,
Sure.
Their pinky finger up to their face, and you could be burned, can't see, it's dissolving you, superheated.
Say you have the eruption and the big sulfur pools. A stream of magma comes down and hits one of those sulfur pools. The smoke from that is going to be gnarly. It is going to be vicious.
In addition to that, falling rocks, crumbling walls, ceilings, and floors.
Yeah, just general instability of the region.
We talked a little bit about this when we were describing the different volcanoes. Superheated water as well.
Geysers, they don't feel good.
No.
They look cool, but they're uncomfortable. You've got semi-molten mud or other materials.
Mm-hmm. How delightful. And finally, explosions, because
things are under pressure.
Yeah, it could also be highly flammable materials that are escaping from the volcano. Could be anything.
Yeah.
You light a match, you're on fire. You literally blow up and the mountain blows up. Think about that.
The PCs are the ones that actually caused the explosion. Oopsie.
That would be hilarious. Now you have an explosion, rock shards, and magma, potentially. So, Matt, how does a savvy adventurer survive a volcanic region?
First and foremost, you plan accordingly. Heat magic or science, right? Environmental suits of some kind,
Mm-hmm.
and some way to skirt lava flows.
Got to bring some food and water because there's nothing there if it's scorched.
True.
Obviously, if it's dormant, that's a little easier to forage if you get like a forest growing on top of the volcano, but assume that you won't have any.
But you also may not be able to trust the water in either location.
Oh, it could be toxic or poisonous or boiling.
You have to watch your step. Cooled lava flows can easily crack. They can form a paper-thin layer of crust across the top.
Take a wrong step and you're in the movie Volcano where you're just slowly melting, like that firefighter guy.
Yep.
Bring a gas mask. That's always good. And if you're in a sci-fi or maybe you've had sufficient magic, bring a seismograph to detect disturbances.
Always look out what's going on around you.
And watch your six. So why would you visit a volcanic region, Matt?
So many reasons. There are untold riches. Crystals, we mentioned that. You could literally walk into an entire cave full of crystals. Rare earth metals that have been brought up by the lava. If you're in a fantasy world, rare metals.
Oh, good point. Like adamantine.
And mithril. You could have just brand new veins of the stuff every day.
On that same note, you could have some sort of power, magical power. Perhaps the heart of the volcano would be neat. Some sort of mystical connection with the lava.
Sure. Or geothermal power.
Just steam
right?
power.
Like actual steam power.
Yeah, I got some crazy gnomes with a lot of pipes, making weird machines, flying around, blowing things up.
You could go there for lore and monster hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the volcano's about to explode, but someone has discovered some ruins there, and you have to explore the ruins as quickly as possible before they're wiped out by the volcano.
It's quite possible. And finally, easy access to the Underdark. If it's dormant, it's already exploded, you know there's a chamber going down into the mantle.
Yeah, you know there are probably lava tubes.
Yeah, take a dip.
Sure.
Go check it out. Hopefully you won't melt.
Hopefully not.
How delightful. Speaking of other delightful things, we have what, Matt?
Got the question of the week.
All right. Do we have a volcanic question for the question of the week?
We do indeed.
Excellent. What is it?
You've transmuted a normally domesticated creature to suit your volcanic environs. What is it?
I have a lot of answers on this one.
There's a lot of good answers.
There's a lot of great answers. My first answer was a volcanic cow, just because.
Moo.
Yeah. It's a fiery moo, but I think what would be much more amusing is a lava cat.
A volcanic cow. I was sitting here thinking when you make your coffee, right, you just automatically get steamed milk.
Oh, delightful. That's a great idea.
A lava cat, though.
A lava cat. Because, and here's my theory, as you're well aware, several of our friends are allergic to cats. And whenever they come over to my house, I have cats.
Sure.
The cats instinctively know that they're allergic to them and seek to rub up on them.
Mm-hmm.
A lava cat would be the same bastard in that adventurers would come creeping up. The lava cat would know that it would hurt them by rubbing up against their legs and would do so.
Sooner or later, I'm going to want to pet it.
You're going to have to pet the lava cat. You're going to catch on fire.
Yep.
And there's just piles of ashes where the adventurers were because it rolled on its belly and you have to pet the little belly.
Sure.
So yeah, that's my answer. It's a great monster. No one wants to kill it.
I would name it Balrog.
Balrog, the lava cat.
Yeah.
I like that. It's nice. What about you? What domestic animal would you have?
So picture this.
Okay.
You're going to have some streams of lava, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a nice little lake of lava.
Yeah, lava lake,
Lava geese,
lava geese.
right? Just paddling around on the
A
lava.
lava goose that lays a lava egg? It lays an egg that turns into a geode.
Nice. Very cool. Geese are monsters.
Geese are bastards.
They, however, make great guard animals and make a lot of noise on top of that. I'm just saying, like, it's a great animal to have, especially if they're lavafied.
What would your answer be to the question of the week? Hit us up at Goblin's Corner on all the various socials. And of course, you can do what, Matt?
You can comment down below.
That's right. That's what it's here for. So we're talking volcanoes, and we just mentioned some weird creatures. And let's talk about some unique creatures that you might expect in this type of terrain.
First off, you have to assume there's not going, once again, unless dormant,
Mm-hmm.
there's not going to be a lot of normal creatures or natural creatures here. You might get some insects or flying creatures that can live near an active volcano, but not a lot of other things.
Yeah. Otherwise, if it is dormant, anything goes. Assume the same stuff like in a mountainous region or a forest.
Sure.
Now, magical creatures, however, is a whole nother story.
Fire giants are a great classic example.
They could just be chilling near the mountain because they're immune to fire, if I recall.
Mm-hmm.
You get red dragons or emerald.
Or gold. Giant fire beetles. Wouldn't it be fun? Like, you've got all this stuff being thrown up in the air, and the next thing you know, there's just a swarm of giant fire beetles just...
I could see the volcano erupting, and there's a nest of fire beetles just kind of hanging out in there, and it just globs an entire nest of the grubs, maybe not the full beetles, and they start burning through houses. That'd be kind of fun.
Sure.
I mean, for the DM.
Right.
You got fire trolls, and yes, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Go look up fire trolls. They're awful. If you think trolls are bad, fire trolls are worse.
There's a troll for every environment.
That is 100% correct.
Elementals, obviously. Fire, magma, smoke, earth, ash, and lightning. as
Colored
an option.
lightning.
Yeah, colored lightning. That's what the world needs, is a red lightning elemental.
We could go a little bit on the genie side, so a Freedy or Mephits.
Makes sense.
I mean, who doesn't love a Mephit?
What if in that caldera there's a giant lava throne with a fire god just chilling?
Hephaestus making some awesome weapons for the gods in Olympus? Could be.
Yeah.
Could also have some of the classic D&D monsters like salamanders, fire newts, and we mentioned azures, which are basically dwarves with fiery hair.
They're just full-on fire dwarfs.
Yeah. If the volcano is near abyssal realms, you could have all sorts of fiends, Matt.
Demons, devils, anything fire-related from those areas.
Mm-hmm. There's magma oozes, which are also awesome and horrible to contemplate.
There's also, if you go back a little ways, pyroclastic oozes.
Oh, yeah, those are
The
great.
giant ones that spurt flame. Gotta love that. Purple worms.
Yeah, they could be making those lava tunnels.
Yep.
They might be the reason why the volcano erupted.
Could be.
Pop a couple holes in those magma chambers, man. You got yourself an active volcano.
They're big and they burrow, and they're not very bright.
Mm-hmm. Got thunderbirds, phoenix, particularly near the peaks. So you could see maybe like the fire erupts and the phoenix is kind of playing in the fire, or you get that multicolored lightning and the thunderbirds hanging out.
Sure.
And finally,
Kobolds.
just chilling.
Yeah.
Dude, kobold things.
Yep.
Most likely trapping you.
Or serving dragons. Now, we also have a few unique cultures that you might find in the area.
Yeah, in D&D, I would say there's 5 big ones. There's probably more, but these are 5 that I think you should center on as a storyteller because they're easy to do. The first one, obviously, fire giants. They've got their own culture. It's pretty easy to kind of put a story around a volcano with a bunch of fire giants. They could attack or do whatever, or you could just go maybe try to get inside their realm and steal something.
Right. Take that last sentence and apply it directly to dragons.
Yes, sneaking around in a magma-filled caldera while a dragon is sleeping on top of a horde of gems, jewels, and broken bodies of adventurers is pretty much classic D&D.
I agree 100%.
I also love the idea of kobolds, as you mentioned, serving dragons or just maybe in the lava tunnels, trapping the hell out of you.
Well, also, they may be there for the same reason you are. Looking for gems, looking for strange wild magic, looking for strange beasties to kill and harvest.
Yeah, digging around, doing stuff, doing kobold things.
I was just about to say koboldy stuff.
Koboldy stuff. We got salamanders, Matt. What are salamanders?
They are technically planar creatures, but for some reason they end up on the prime material plane all the time.
Every time I see like an environment table for volcanoes, I see salamanders. I don't think I've ever had a salamander in a game that I've run. I can't think
No? I have run them a couple times.
And finally we have
Dwarves,
which is probably the best example of, what are dwarves doing? They're obviously mining the molten rock.
Right.
They're smelting stuff with it, making weapons and axes and so forth.
And they're using the free heat to smelt with. And
I would also use gnomes as well, because gnomes would be good for, or orcs too, if you want to use orcs. That'd be a nice spin on things. Orcs inside the volcano, making a whole bunch of really cool obsidian weapons. That would be badass.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of different fun themes when it comes to volcanoes. For example, the theme of change is a real easy one to kind of write in as a storyteller. Volcanoes are always changing. This is a great concept that it is represented by the volcano.
Yeah. They're changing the environment around them.
Mm-hmm.
Rebirth and destruction.
Oh, yeah. Volcanoes are very destructive.
Yep.
Symbol of rebirth. Makes perfect sense to me.
They are also, however, just a symbol of straight up cataclysm.
And you know what? If you're running a campaign and you are lacking ideas, have a volcano show up, it's a cataclysm. Hey, look, it's going to pop up. It's going to spew violent lava everywhere, toxic gases, perhaps monsters. Maybe there's a purple worm or a kobold riding a purple worm. That would be awesome. Yeehaw. It'd be like the D&D version of Dune.
Nice. Yeah, I can see it.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. And the gases that they breathe in change their eye color. Just going full trip on this.
Sure.
I like the idea that you wrote down here, the concept of the underworld. That's a cool concept because, the underworld is below, like Hades, for example.
And it's got a classic kind of hell flavor to it, right? There's magma, there's fire, there's red light, there's
all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
Treasure and greed because riches are below the earth, and that would be a fun concept to explore. Maybe the volcano is the symbol of greed in your story. That would be neat if you're doing a lot of symbolism in your game.
Absolutely. And you could have a point, like a specific volcano that's claimed dozens, hundreds of lives because it is constantly spewing out gold or very precious metals, and people go there, but it's a very dangerous, still active volcano. Some people come back rich. Most people don't come back.
Or half come back.
Oh, sure.
Like burning places and such. Forging and metalworking is a good concept to consider. It could just be the volcano is the center of a culture. Perhaps they built the community around the volcano. Maybe it's semi-active or maybe mostly dormant. So maybe just kind of trickles some lava out and they use that to make their weapons. That's a cool way to build a city.
It's a very cool idea. Also, you could add like glass blowing to that. Like maybe there's a group of people that blow lava like glass blowers.
Oh, that would be neat. I would love to see, like some sort of like, what would it look like?
Depends on what type of lava, but it could end up being something like obsidian or something like a really rough stone.
Or let's be honest, there's magic in this game, so I mean it could be anything.
Sure.
And you could also just talk about the concept of heat or fire. Imagine a warlock patron to the volcano.
I believe in environmental patrons. I believe in them. There's not enough of them, and eventually,
a lava lock.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're writing that up today. The lava lock. Replace everything with magma spells.
Sure.
He's just lobbing globs of magma at people.
It's lava blast. It's not an eldritch blast.
No, we got something way better now. Finally, we have some story options like we do. And these are some good ones, I think. The first one, a volcano is erupting. There you go.
There you go.
That's it. You want to just interject some craziness or side quest, or maybe this is the main quest. It starts with a volcano erupting.
Are you going to have to evacuate the area? Are you going to have to figure out ways to prevent, like direct the flows of lava, whatever?
Yeah, it doesn't start in a bar. It starts with the volcano erupting and you got to deal with it.
Sure. If it's an epic level campaign, maybe you have to stop the volcano from erupting.
Oh, like some firebenders in Avatar?
Sure.
Try to calm the volcano down. How would your epic level characters do that? Would enough wishes be able to do so? Or maybe there's something more mystical at the heart of the volcano.
Or maybe you just get smart enough and you drill a bunch of vents so that it vents out slowly.
A group of cultists sacrifice travelers in the hopes of awakening the mountain god.
Choose your mountain god.
Well, and I'm thinking this is great because maybe the sacrifices cause it to be active and the volcano is some sort of symbol of destruction.
Sure.
Going on the concept of destruction or cataclysm again.
A party must infiltrate a red dragon's lair for
Reasons.
something.
Yeah.
Right.
Gold, to rescue somebody, to poke it in the butt, anything.
Knowledge, whatever.
Yeah. And all of the environmental terrors that accompany it.
You've got to rescue all of those prisoners that the cultists have been throwing down to it.
That's a good point, yeah. Another one. A lich siphons off the toxic gases from an active volcano for reasons.
Those are bound to be good reasons, right? It's going to be fine.
He's imbuing them into his zombies so that when you hit them, they poison the surrounding area.
Of course he is.
Caustic zombies, maybe. That would be kind of cool, too.
Or instead of flaming skulls, he's got poison gas skulls.
Oh, that would be awful. Yeah, a lot of fun stuff with that.
Yeah, I would run that theme through all of the undead he's got.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like every friend.
Fire-based undead.
Sure.
Toxic-based undead. Maybe we have some kind of, the Gru, the undead lava creatures.
Sure.
That'd be kind of fun.
An ancient city is found at the center of a caldera.
Ooh. Get to discover that. Just straight up dungeon, right?
Sure.
Good dungeon exploration. Throw some monsters in there. Call it a day. Or it could be part of a bigger adventure. Maybe there's something there that can save the world or so forth.
Could be a Shangri-La type situation.
Very possible. Purple Worm's path has caused an immense magma flow to a nearby forest or city.
We knew it was those dumb purple worms.
Now, if it pops a hole into a forest, it's burning the forest down.
Yes.
That is a problem.
A gnomish inventor needs help tapping into the steam created from a nearby volcanic region. He just wants some steamworks.
Yeah. How fun is that?
Makes perfect sense.
And this is a great example of just an environmental thing in the background, like some sort of story element in the background that maybe it's just a side quest where, yeah, there's an active volcano. It hasn't really destroyed anything. It doesn't have to be a world-shattering event, but it is useful. Oh, yeah, happens to power the city, or it's used to make magical weapons. So you might need to tap into the steam in order to maybe upgrade your magic item. That'd be kind of neat.
Sure. Or you're trying to gear up for a war, and the gnome wants to build a hammer mill.
Mm-hmm.
But end of the day, it's geothermal power. Right? Anything you could use that for, the gnomes are trying to use it for.
That's true. Duergar steal an artifact which dwarves claim is the heart of the mountain and their source of heat. That would suck. Can you imagine? This is kind of a fun turn of events too, right? Maybe you have an active volcano now dormant because they stole this artifact which was the heart of the volcano and they put it someplace else.
So now they've taken a mountain that wasn't a volcano and made it a volcano. But the other thing you have to think about is as the lava recedes, the caldera could collapse.
That's true.
And destroy the Dwarven Kingdom as well.
Kill them all.
Yes, so you've put a timer on this mission.
Mm-hmm.
A Dwarven Forge Master seeks pure metal from a volcano that is active.
Simple fetch quest.
It's a fetch quest. I don't know how simple it is.
But I mean, at its premise, just get some metal from an active volcano.
Yeah.
But in terms of how hard that is to do, it depends on the level you're playing, right? And finally, a tremendously ancient Zaratan, which, Matt, what's a Zaratan?
It is a giant island turtle.
Yes. A tremendously ancient Zaratan sports an active volcano on its shell. And why not?
I love it. My story for because you invented this, but immediately in my head, I said, okay, so here's what happened. A dragon turtle and a Zaratan fell in love.
Yep.
Boom. Now you have something that creates steam naturally, but doesn't necessarily have the normal methodologies because it's only a half dragon turtle. Now it's a dragon Zaratan with a volcano.
Or maybe the volcano is how it shed its scales.
Could be.
How it grows.
Yeah. I was going to say, not even how it's molting, but literally just how Zeratans grow.
By creating a volcano.
Yeah.
So there you have it. A couple of options you can use to put volcanoes into your campaign. Some monsters that are totally usable in any fantasy campaign.
Sure.
We've got a couple of story options, environmental hazards, and a giant Zeratan with a volcano.
What's not to love?
What's not to love? Any questions or comments, hit us up at Goblin's Corner on all the various socials. Did you enjoy this podcast? We've got a couple more fiery episodes erupting very soon. Subscribe to it on your favorite player, YouTube and Twitch.
Click the 5 stars and give us a review on iTunes and Podchaser. And on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. It helps get our show in front of more people, and it feeds the hungry algorithm.
Just currently building with pressure under many, many ancient eons until it finally explodes.
Yeah, that's actually very algorithmic.
Works for me. That's all the time we have for tonight. Once again, my name is Eric.
And I'm Matt.
We'll see you next time.
Good night, folks. The Goblin's Corner has been written and produced by Eric Holden and Matt Staple.
D20 did our music.
And this has been a Subterranean production.
Later.